everywhere people compare you to Bjork.
Yeah, for a long time it bothered me just because it didn't resonate with me as truth, but the thing is, she's really good, so I've eventually tried to convince myself to not mind a comparison to someone who's good.
I think that, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And it just, well, especially when you're first starting out, a comparison to anybody, which appears again and again and again, starts making your blood boil, because, especially if you don't agree with it, if you don't see similarities, just because it feels limiting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like,
hey guys,
Hi.
come on, there we are. Huddle up, okay.
All right. So as far as like nightmares and night terrors and all that goes, have you had any personal experience with them?
It's so funny. It's like, tell me, what is your biggest fear? Okay.
No, really, tell me.
Yeah, I've had a couple bad dreams in my lifetime. Yeah, I think.
Did that help with this character? Like?
Perhaps. I think I'm a very visual person, so I think, and I have a very big imagination. So sometimes those manifest themselves in our dreams. But I think I'm always fascinated by them. It's never to the point where I can't cope with it. Even if I have a bad dream, I kind of wake up and I'm amazed by that. And I'll share that and try and figure it out.
What was it about this project that made you want to get involved with it?
Well, many things. Michael Petroni, who wrote it and directed it, is an amazing writer. He's a very talented writer. He's a great filmmaker, and I think the story is a wonderful balance of both fulfilling the commercial appeal of having a thriller, supernatural movie, and then for me on a more personal level, I like the depth of the character and the fact that I'm portraying a psychologist who comes to the realization that all of his patients are ghosts, which is then a metaphor for the ghosts that plague us, the unsolved issues that we are having to come to terms with. So, smart writer.
It takes them one step further away from the old way of thinking, believing in God and Christianity. But it's not necessarily an apocalypse, a destruction of the world like people have always seen it. I think it's killing off your old way of thinking.
You mean, why do the people come to see me?
Why are they so fascinated? It's the same as I said before, it's the understanding.
I mean, there are, if you just stand on the corner there and you hold up a stick with a curious sign on it, you're going to get a number of people to stare at you. The fact that people come to look at you is not necessarily any indication that something excellent is going on. I have set myself up as perhaps they just come to see me make a fool of myself. I am making a spectacle of myself. I'm holding up some kind of curious little sign, and a number of people are coming to get it. They come for their different reasons. I myself try to make that as empty as possible.
I think it was, I felt that the day couldn't go by, or the event couldn't go by without some mention of the kind of year women have really had.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed kind of silly to me.
What are your hopes for the future in that respect?
For women?
Mm-hmm.
It would be really great if a 60-year-old woman was on the cover of People magazine and they said, the sexiest woman alive.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know that I'll live to see that day, but...
Well, whether she lives to see that day or not, Michelle
had written one line of the song Taxman.
Mm-hmm.
But
did you tell him that?
Well, I didn't, because he was already dead after that. But the point to that was that I also didn't say how I wrote 2 lines to Come Together or 3 lines to Eleanor Rigby. You know, I wasn't getting into any of that. I think in the balance I would have had more things to be niggled with him about than he would have with me.
But he said that you idolized him as a young boy, that you felt...
Well, that's what he thought.
And you didn't?
Well, I liked him very much. He was a groove. He was a good lad. But at the same time, he misread me. He didn't realize who I was. And this was one of the main faults of John and Paul. They were so busy being John and Paul, they failed to realize who else was around at the time. Okay, well, I don't mind. I'll play, whatever you want me to play.
No, it was lovely. They were all really nice and scary.
It's intimidating walking. I had him. I think everyone's going to be really happy and surprised, but he was really well received, and it was nice to see everybody kind of just take him on. It was pretty cool.
But I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens when the movie comes out and they're behind their computers blogging. Might be a different story.
I think it'll be all right. I'm not too worried.
Games until you're behind